Good evening and welcome into another edition of Trailblazers Courtside. Jordan Ken alongside Michael Holton, and we've got a packed house tonight. We've got Kevin Calabro and Lamar Hurd. Gentlemen, I think this is the first time you've ever been in our studios this entire season.
This is craziness. Y'all kick us out for the season. You revamped the place. Coach Holton, I think you had something to do with this. I mean, the digs are nice. This whole little Star Trek panel right here in the middle. What's up with that?
Beam us up.
How come we don't get to come in here and be a part of this?
Step right there, beam me up.
What you didn't get, though, was the memo when we redid it that sport coats were required. We might have to give you one at the break.
Respect.
Well, before we get to discussing the wardrobe here and breaking that down, guys, I want to get your thoughts on just how you felt the season went from your perspective and everything that you guys got to see from your vantage point.
Well, I think about the 10th game of the year, I finally found the men's room around here. just trying to find my way around the digs. That was first and foremost the first month of the season. But getting to know the players, the coaches, and so forth. You know, I've seen them from afar, obviously, and done events that the Blazers have been involved in, games and series and so forth. But to actually get to know these guys, that was a real pleasure, yeah, for me.
I think for me, just not knowing what to expect. Kevin is a longtime veteran in the NBA. This is my first year, as we all know, doing it. And again, from afar, we had seen these guys play. You know, we have known each other. I competed against you in college. Same with you. You were coaching against me. You know, I know you played in the league. So all of this stuff coming together, you know, it's one of those things that took a little bit of time. You start getting acclimated, and then it's just a matter of on the court, what to expect. We all had high expectations coming into the year, and it was a bit of a roller coaster.
It sure was.
There were some dark moments, but then there were some light moments as well.
You know, we can only see so much from our vantage point during the game broadcast, but you guys are right there basically every single game, right by Coach Stotts, right by that bench. What are some things you notice about the game that maybe don't get captured in the broadcast that you could kind of vocalize and share with everyone to give them a different perspective as far as what things are like?
I think for me, I just try to watch the game from the player's lens. Like, as players, you know, we all played at some point. You know when guys are frustrated, when they're happy, when they're mad, when they're sad, when they maybe have some jawing going back and forth with another guy, when they're talking to a teammate, when they're either encouraging a teammate or getting on a teammate, the conversations that happens between Coach Stotts and the rest of the coaches with the players. You look at all those things, and as you watch them unfold and, you know, sitting on the sideline, you can hear some of the stuff that's going on. It kind of sets the stage for what's going to come next. You know, you know, all right, Dame is about to pull up, because he just passed up on a look and Terry Stotts called him over there and told him, I need you to shoot that one. Just those kind of little things you find out.
And what's interesting is you guys throughout the season, at least from our perspective, you sort of develop this old school, no offense, and new school sort of yin and yang with the call. And when you guys first started working together, did you feel that instant chemistry, or was it something that you felt developed a little bit over time?
Well, we've been working together for I've lost track, six seasons, I think, previous to this, because we've been doing a lot of Pac-12 games, obviously. Yeah. But, you know, the NBA game is a much different game. It's a different brand of basketball. You're taking a big step. It's a much faster game, certainly. But I could feel, you know, the cooperation between the two of us, and obviously with Brooke and the crew almost instantaneously. I mean, we had those 4 preseason games to get some games under our belt and get acclimated to our environment. And, of course, the players are so cooperative. The coaches are very cooperative as well. So we had anecdotes and stories and things that we could work with from the beginning that helped.
Well, go ahead, Coach.
No, the chemistry was obviously present immediately. We were able to observe it. But I want to ask you a question about the mechanics of the job in the Motor Center. Because Terry Stotts is standing right there.
Yeah, he is.
And I got to think that he can hear what you're saying. You certainly hear some of the things he's saying to players. That doesn't have any impact on what you say. You guys are true professionals, because I'm sitting there like, they got some tough things right now.
No, that's a great question, because there have been times where we have said something and Terry has heard, and he'll turn back and look at us and have a conversation while we're all on air. And we got to try to
realize is we can't hear him.
Yeah, well, sometimes you can. I mean, sometimes you can. I mean, he's always nice about it, but we got to continue calling the game as it is, because fans can't see that. If you're watching on TV, you're not watching that shot of Terry Stotts talking, so we can't engage in a full-on
Now, there will be a 50-50 call on the floor, and there was early in the season.
Yeah.
And Terry let it be known that, hey, I'm going to turn to you sometimes, and I want you to, tell me what you think. And I immediately told Terry, hey, Coach, A lot of times, you know, we when we've got the replay, we can't tell which way this thing is going to go, and
or we need to see another angle
I didn't
of it.
want that responsibility.
You got to live with it.
So he would look at us, and I would like,
and like he said, I trust you guys.
Casey, he was trying to put you in the game. Because I'm gonna need a uniform for that type of input. But there's one more moment, and Lamar always feel like I'm ribbing you, but I love you.
Oh, I love it.
But back to you talking in front of Coach Stotts and he hearing what you're saying certainly didn't impact how comfortable you became. As evidenced by when Dame gave you the new pair of shoes.
All I'm saying.
And you wanted them on air. You asked Coach Stotts during live play if he could slide over.
That's right.
All I'm saying, look, fellas, it wasn't about me. It was about Dame Dollar himself. My man was releasing the shoes. I had to get the shoes on there. He hooked it up, gave me a pair right before the game. I could not put my man's shoes on there.
I don't disagree because I told Jordan the only reason Lamar's going to survive that is that they were Dame.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I knew it. I knew how long the leash was on that one. And the team won that night.
Okay.
Had it been a different story, he might have had some words for me.
And that always helps. And so we get a chance to really interact with you guys, especially during the Pick to Click at the top of our show. And sort of a precedent was started the very first game of the year, and Michael's one to always kind of comment on what people are wearing and whatnot. But game one, you saw Lamar was wearing something a little unique. Can you share that story?
Yeah, because I like fashion. I admire fashion.
You do, yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm fashionable, but I pay close attention.
But you are, though.
To fashion.
You are.
So thank you. Yeah. So, and I was observing Lamar because I knew he was coming into the NBA anew, and there'd be a learning curve. So I was paying pretty close attention to Lamar on opening night, right? And I was kind of trying to find him early before, maybe in the media room, that, hey, you're going to be all right. Man, Lamar bust out with the salmon shirt. I said, he don't need no encouragement.
And so every game, it seemed like Michael was coming up with new adjectives for clothing that I've never heard before.
So you guys know, before the pregame show, Kevin and I will hop on camera about 5 minutes before, get all hooked up. And it turned into something where every time before we sat down, I was like, I got to see what Coach O's going to give me next.
Yeah.
Because literally every game we did, he had a review of my outfit. And I needed it. I could not survive without the review you gave me.
But Lamar, thank you. But it was a compliment every night because you kept going to another level.
Yeah, well, I had to.
You went Ronald Reagan pocket square.
Right back my favorite. My favorite. Explain to the audience what the
Ronald Reagan pocket square. I didn't think Lamar was old enough to know the Ronald Reagan is just the white. It's just folded. It's just straight across. It's kind of gangster. But Lamar came.
Nice gangster.
Lamar came crispy. Ronald Reagan one night.
Try my best.
So I think that leads to, Lamar, when you're picking out your wardrobe for a 5-game road trip, are you going through the closet and are you hearing Michael's voice in your mind as you start to kind of select things?
I am playing the joke in my head ahead of time because I know he's going to come with something. Just like, so tonight I walk in with this, came with the vest with Jordan you normally wear, so I was inspired by you. And then Coach Holden hit me with the Dancing with the Stars outfit. So I knew it was going to be something. I just didn't know what it's going to be. I don't know how he thinks of it so quickly.
Well, you'd be amazed.
It takes him 5 seconds to see me, and he's got a review.
Lamar, there's something about you that just brings thoughts and words to mind immediately.
Okay, positive though, right?
Positive.
All right.
Well, it's amazing the vocabulary developed because I find myself learning words from him throughout the season, things like off the chain and game changer, and it's made such an impression on me. My wife is using those words now when she talks to me, so you've really kind of changed the Kent family vernacular with your influence.
Well, thank you, but back to the reason these phrases and words come about has been the play of the team.
Okay.
I mean, you see Dame and CJ giving people the business and just new vocabulary emerges.
Yes.
And I'm not uncomfortable sharing them.
What about the bop bop? Do the bop bop. The Kent house.
Bobby gave me the bop bop.
When they hit up with the combo, that's what I told Kevin. Dame and CJ come down with the between the legs behind the back. The
bop bop.
The bop bop.
I love it.
All right, well, stick around when we come back. So much more to catch up with these gentlemen, including a sport that they both picked up together this year, something that Kevin's a little bit more seasoned than Lamar. We'll break that down when we come back on this edition of Trailblazers Courtside. Now, gentlemen, a lot of lengthy road trips during the NBA season. I'm curious for you guys, you've got some downtime when you're on the road. So what are some of the things you guys are doing to pass the time when you're on the road? And do you have any good stories you can share with us from this season, something that stands out to you as you reflect back on things, Lamar?
You know what? We are a pretty boring group when it comes. We'll go out and have the big dinners when the sponsors are here. The last you want to come along for a great meal, a free meal, meet some sponsors,
Never
have
said
some
no
fun.
to that.
We're in. But, are we taking the sticks and playing golf? No, we didn't do that this year. Did we ski on the road? We didn't do any of that. Mostly it's just catching your sleep, getting your rest.
You know, that's what, for me, coming into the year, with it being my first year, I wanted to know how to balance the travel with the rest and all that. So I spent at least the first half of the year really shutting it down. We get to our spot, I go to my room, I go through my notes, find out who we're playing next and all that kind of thing. But I wasn't going to hang out with him anyway. I told him before the year. Because he's crazy. He's the outdoorsy type, plays with snakes, alligators, and all that nonsense. Things that aren't really pets. So I told him before the year started, I'm not kicking it with you when we go out. I'll see you on a bus. I'll see you in the hotel elevators. I'll see you at the arena. And that's how we kept it. It was real simple.
So I'm curious, too. You guys spend a lot more time around the team than we obviously get a chance to because we're just here for game day. When this team started to turn things around in March, when you bring Nurkic on board, did you guys notice any change with the team as far as during that period, getting a sense that, okay, these guys are getting ready to turn the corner, there's something special that's going to happen here towards the end of the season?
How about that road trip?
Yeah, you're talking about the 4-1 road trip?
Yeah, just after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
They played maybe their worst game of the year at New Orleans. And then come back on a second of a back-to-back and beat the San Antonio Spurs in a classic game. The Spurs at full strength. That's when I got a sense that, hey, things are starting to go.
I did too, because it looked legitimate. Just the way that they were winning games. The defense was cranking up a few notches. The pick and roll with Dame and CJ and Nurkic really became a prevalent part of the Blazers offense. You could just see, it wasn't any fluke stuff going on. It wasn't lucky shots going on. It was just good, solid basketball. And then the win to cap that road trip might have been the biggest win at Miami.
Yeah.
Because Miami, remember when that game started and you watch Miami, the pace at which they were moving, they might have been playing harder than anybody else in the league at the time.
Yeah.
Like them boys were playing.
Yeah.
And Dames was carving them up. CJ had the game. Nurkic in the fourth quarter had a big fourth quarter. That's when, to me, it's like, okay, they're about to do something. They're about to get to the playoffs.
So this team has been pretty resilient. Through ups and through downs, I think the composure of the team has been pretty constant in terms of togetherness. But when you're with the team and you see them lose a game at New Orleans like that and then turn it around, do you see anything different off the floor?
Well, that's a great question. I think the good thing about this team is they're very well balanced. I think they follow Terry Stotts from that point of view. A lot of times you can't tell if they're losing by 10 or winning by 10. But when you get off the plane and you go to the bus and then you're in a hotel lobby, if it's after a tough stretch like we saw a lot in November and December, guys maybe weren't as talkative as they normally are, but after a winning streak, after the 4-1 road trip, you got people on the plane coming back, the players coming back to our part just to say hello and that kind of thing. And that's the kind of guys they are. We were really lucky when you look at this roster. No knuckleheads, no jerks, nobody of that nature. So it's a real nice group, but they certainly were a lot happier after wins.
And it's about accountability. When your leaders are Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, and they are accountable to the team, and Damian, more often than not, would take the burden of losing on his own shoulders. C.J. the same way. Hey, it's on me. It's got to start with me. But when they win, it's not chest pumping or anything like that.
Oh, never.
Damian, it was always about, hey, next game, here we go. Let's we're making progress. But let's look forward here. And then, credit where credit is due. If Napier has a nice game off the bench,
well,
who's talking to Brooke about that?
You took the words out of my mouth. The game at Orlando right after the All-Star break, Shabazz comes in and is playing like the little pit bull that he is. But Damian Lillard was the player of the game. He had the most points, I believe, that night. He made the biggest plays down the stretch. First thing he says when he's talking to Brooke Olzendam is, Shabazz is the one who led us to this win. We wouldn't have won the game if Shabazz wasn't playing.
So speaking of Dame giving the game ball to Shabazz Napier, I remember that, and it was impressive. We had a pick-to-click contest.
Yeah, who won that?
And we really haven't crowned a champ. And I don't know if we're ready to do that tonight. I know producer Nick is not in the chair. But I never understood what the changed value in the playoffs were, because I had really counted on making a monumental comeback.
Value? Well, I was just told the winner is Lamar.
Yeah, what he did say.
Lamar was this winner.
Listen, I knew
you know him going out on that line.
Almost didn't come in here.
We'll get you a bowl of fruit for all that.
Come on, man.
Hey, I was going on a limb for.
You out on the limb right now.
Bananas, some kiwis, some apples.
Look at that fruit again.
But Lamar, we will acknowledge right now during an official broadcast, you were the winner for the 2016-2017 pick-to-click season. So
congratulations.
It's a great start, great rookie season for you. I'll try to see if we have some time in our next broadcast for an acceptance speech. We'll try to get you a reward.
No shout-outs right
Congratulations.
You know, okay. Well, Lamar, congratulations. You know, great job with all that.
But one of them things.
But I'm curious. You know, it was a little bit something new for both of you guys this year, even though you had worked together. And Kevin, starting with you, what was it like for you to go from sort of national NBA coverage and working with several different teams to focusing in on one team for the season?
It got much easier and smoother, and there was more continuity to it as the season progressed, obviously. And I've always said you're only as good as the game you're broadcasting as a broadcaster. I mean, if these guys are playing well, they're 13-3 in March, they're killing people, winning second of all these back-to-back ball games, then you suddenly are pretty good. Yeah. When you start off the season, as the Blazers did, you know, 13-17, Al-Farouq Aminu was down the 8th game of the year and never really got healthy till maybe 35 games into the season or so forth. You know, presumably your best defender, your best post defender, and the team's not playing well defensively and you're dead last in points. That broadcast doesn't sound as good, does it?
No.
Because you're obviously, we as the hometown broadcasters are looking for the positives in the team and progress in the team. And I think I'm proud of that, actually, that night in and night out, we would accentuate the positive and look for the growth in the team, knowing that this is the youngest team in the NBA and that there's a real process to winning a championship. And we're at the very beginning, the embryonic stages of getting there. So you take those steps, you go back a few, and then you progress one or two. And I really like the progression in this team in the last 2 months of the season. I am so fired up to come back for next year. I mean, I'm fired up, man. I really am. Very, very
Let's
enthusiastic.
get to next year. You look at the progression that was made towards March in the playoffs. As far as next season, what are some of those things that you're most excited for to see from this team as they continue to develop in that progression you mentioned?
Well, just the development. Who develops? What maybe does Mo Harkless add to his game at the 3 spot? What does Al-Farouq Aminu at the 4? What do some of these guys not named Dame and CJ and Nurkic, what do they add to their games? And in addition to that, what does Yusuf Nurkic add to his game? Because I don't know if you saw this, Kevin. I didn't talk to you. But Nurk said that he is planning to add the 3-point shot to his game.
I know you want that bad.
Well, look, just to clarify, because I got a lot of people that don't understand whenever I bring this up. It's not for him to just become a standstill 3-point shooter. It's just to have it in the toolbox. If you could tell me that Marc Gasol is not a better player, the way he's shooting a 3-point shot right now, then I don't know what else to tell you. Because if you can go to that and stretch the defense and have that look and this free-flowing offense that Terry Stotts likes to play, I think it's only going to make the club.
But this is what Gasol does. First, it starts to me.
Oh, it's got to start down low.
With that jump shot. And then the ability to put it on the deck, left to right, the drop step left to right, the use of the left to right hand, ambidextrous, powers to the rim, and that's just a start.
It's got to start back to the basket. That's where the bread is buttered. So you go down there, handle your business down there, and then when it's time to step out, you step out. But just knowing that a guy can do it defensively, now your game plan is that much more difficult to prepare.
I think one of the reasons why, or one of the benefits of Nurkic adding that shot, is that you have to get defensive shot blockers out of the lane in today's NBA, particularly when you have dribble penetration skill sets that Dame and CJ possess.
Yeah, you're lifting Gobert out around the foul line. That's huge. I mean, that's one of the reasons they beat Utah.
Yeah, I fully agree. And that's where, like we were talking about this, had Nurk been available for the whole Golden State series, playing against that small lineup, what Golden State calls the death lineup, I think they would have more problems with him than he would have had trying to play against the small dudes, because he can defend a Draymond Green type of guy that's not really breaking him down off the dribble. But I'm not so sure, as good as Draymond Green is defense, I'm not so sure he can stop Nurk. And I think we saw some of that in the first few minutes of Game 3 when he did play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great stuff to build upon for next year. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have to get you
Wait,
down.
we're done?
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
That's it?
Sorry, Lamar.
Congratulations to you two guys. You've been terrific.
Hey, thank you.
You did a terrific job of setting the table.
He gets all the credit. Stick around. We'll be back. Plenty more Trailblazers courtside.
Bring
when
in
we
Wills
return.
and Brooke.
Later on, we'll catch up with Wheels and Brooke Olsen
Real
and
pros.
get their thoughts on this past season.